What do you do when your business is growing, but you are burning out? That's what I'm going to get into in today's episode. Because the reality is, you might be hitting your revenue goal and you're losing yourself. And that is not winning. Ask me how I know. This is a slow collapse waiting to happen. I've been here. And so the real question is, well, when do I start to hire? When do I understand when I'm burned out? And most importantly, how do I ask for help as the leader? So I think about this all of the time. High performers are constantly falling apart. I see it with leaders, with executives, with business owners, with CEOs. I saw it with myself. I burned out at the top of my career a few years ago. And to tell you the truth, I didn't think burnout was real. Some of you listening right now are probably like, burnout's not real. I hope that's not real for you. I truly do. For me, I found myself completely paralyzed. I'd been traveling nonstop for years, 200 plus days on the year, other airports, other hotels, other rental cars, not having stability, not having space, stage, this event, that conference, this mastermind, that retreat, on and on and on and on. And to tell you the truth, part of me loved that. I still love it. I've learned how to tone that down a bit, but I was in this place where the business was working. I had a team, we were scaling, and I could not function. I just couldn't function. And so I had to look at my life and ask myself, what is going on here? Ultimately, now this was for me, this may be for you as well. I had to take a break. I stepped away. I had to let go of a business that I'd spent almost a decade building. And then I created this and what we're working on right now with the Unbroken Business Support Group, which, by the way, if you go to michaelunbroken.com and click free resources, I have a ton of information that can help you about the 6 pillars of business that I created absolutely for free for you and for your team. So let's look at this. Why do high performers fall apart? Pressure. And I don't mean just the outside pressure. We always feel the outside pressure, but it's the internal pressure and the dialogue that we have for ourselves about always hitting a home run. I lived of this mindset for a very long time where I thought to myself, if you're not hitting a home run, there's no point in playing the game. And then I started to take a step back and I realized that sometimes you just have to get on base. Some days you're going to get on base. Some days you're going to hit a double. Some days you might even get a triple, but most days you're not hitting a home run. And we have to be okay with that as high performers. It doesn't mean we don't show up. It doesn't mean we don't execute at the highest level. It doesn't mean we don't play all out. It just means that we have to change our perspective. Because you and I could be looking out the same window, having the same objective and the same agenda. You're aiming for the home run. I'm aiming first base. You strike out time after time after time. And by the time you've struck out for the 10th time, I've already gone around base twice. And so I think it's about slowing down and looking at it because this thing about us and being high performers and falling apart is real. And I see it far too often. So one, it's the pressure. Two, it's not having a clear objection to the things that you should not be doing. One of the things that is true for my businesses, and any of my team members can attest to this, everyone has a job description. There is a JD for everyone in all of my companies. And my number one rule is that if it's not on my JD, I don't do it unless absolutely necessary. Now, this goes into bringing on a team and hiring and putting the right people in place and running systems and processes and leading by example and doing all the front side work. Because in the beginning, there's a lot of things that you have to do that you don't want to do later on that require your energy today. And there's also the things that you do today that tomorrow you don't have to do anymore because you've been able to delegate them to your team. And so this is the thing. You can't do everything. You can do some things, but you can't do everything. And so bringing in the right team member is so important because we want to bring in people who are autonomous, who can solve problems. And especially right now, my team, we're so buried in learning AI together. How do we utilize AI? What does it mean? Are we using NN8? N8N? Are we using NAN? Are we using Claude? Are we using Manus, Perplexity, Nano Banana, 11 Labs, Whisper? We are deep into the AI game right now. Because one of the things I'm thinking about from all of our job descriptions, what are the day to day things that we're doing that we could have AI do? And we're starting to teach ourselves to learn AI, to delegate our tasks to AI. I told my team in today's meeting, we did L10 meeting, which is a part of the EOS system. I told my team today, I want you all to start treating your AI spaces like they are your employees. Let's go delegate to them, because that's the other part of it. We do so much as high performers. We have this huge pressure on ourselves to go and execute everything. My integrator here, and excuse me, my integrator here with the Unbroken Business Support Group asked me an amazing question today. He said, what happened to the last business and why did you close it? And I told him everything that I'm telling you right now. And then I'll add this other piece. This is the third part of this, the emotional exhaustion. I remember sitting with Brandon Dawson, who was a part of the 10X Ventures with Grant Cardone in 2020, late 2021, late 2020, early 21. And we were having a sidebar conversation, and I was explaining to him I was kind of frustrated. The business was going well, but I was exhausted. And I was getting into some disagreements with some of my team members, and I was probably holding on a little bit too tightly just because there was so much happening. And he said, you look angry. And I go, I'm not angry. I'm just upset. And he looked at me, and goes, you know, man, there's only room for one emotion in business, and that is celebration. And I thought to myself, that is so great. That is so true. Because if we're carrying the emotional weight of the day to day, it's going to disrupt everything around us. And think about the downstream effect of your team. You bring the negativity from home or from the project or the things that didn't go well or the business we didn't close, and your team picks up on, right? You have to understand that you are the first line of defense. And if you're a team member, you have to understand that your energy matters too. We all feed off of each other. It's very easy to pick up on each other's energy. And so when we're walking this path of facing this burnout, things are growing and it's working. I'm a firm believer in this. It doesn't actually start getting hard until you cross seven figures, because now you have more employees, you have more fulfillment, you have more things in the day to day to worry about. But if you can build the systems and processes and people in the right capacity today, when you hit seven figures, that's so much easier. Just last month, we had a $150,000 month. And I looked at that and I thought to myself, I'm really glad we were able to accomplish that because we had all of these things in place. In fact, we did like 60 something thousand in 24 hours on an offer because we had the systems in place. And that took a lot of learning. And then it took me doing another thing that people don't understand deeply enough till they understand it, is that as a leader and as the owner and a founder of multiple companies, I have to ask for help. You have to understand, if you want to avoid this burnout that happens, you have to, it's not even just delegation, right? Delegation's a part of it. The other part of it is you literally are asking for help. Hey, I need some assistance here. Can you help me over here? I need you to pick up the slack here. I need to go hire this person over here. Can you do this? Can you do that? And you will find that, generally speaking, team members who are on board with what it is that you're putting together and what you're building, they're going to say yes. And, I think that we don't, personally, I've never been the kind of person to make demands. Now, I have very high standards, and that's very different, but I never demand anything of people other than a high level of execution. I don't demand that people help me when they have projects. In fact, I tend to steer away from that and try to push my team into staying focused on their individual tasks. And if it gets to the point where the demand is overwhelming, now I have to look at, well, who do I need to bring in? Do we need to hire someone else? Because in my head, what I'm always trying to do is I'm trying to look at the best practices for navigating my day to day so I don't get burned out. So that said, these are my 3 best practices for my day to day so I don't get burned out as a 7-figure entrepreneur. Number 1, first and foremost, if I have a question at 2 a.m., I grab my journal and I write it down, because that means that's something that's keeping me up. I can't sleep. And if I can't sleep, I can't function. If I can't function, I can't lead. Right. So if there's 2 a.m. questions, I address them. That's one. Two is I have to go into a phase of triage on a day to day where I am looking at my teams and I'm looking at my systems. I'm trying to address and assess what needs my attention immediately. And then I put it there, delegate the rest. If you walk into an emergency room and you have a stubbed toe, you're not going to get triaged as quickly as the guy who just came in with a stab wound. You know that. I know that. Apply that mentality to your business. Put out the biggest fire, the thing that's going to cripple the business, the thing that's going to cost an employee, the thing that's going to lose you a 7-figure PO, whatever it is. That's priority number 1. And then finally, you have to have a boundary on your calendar for you to have time for you. This was one of the mistakes that I know led me to burnout, was that I never had space for myself. And recently, so I still run Think Unbroken podcast because I still love that show. We're a decade in, a bunch of episodes. And I had this amazing, amazing brain researcher on. And we had a conversation. And one of the things that he said to me was, you have to make 20% of your day about you having a hobby and enjoying life. And it's funny because I've done these exercises over the years in masterminds, whether I'm leading them or being a part of them, where you evaluate these 7 to 10 different areas of your life. And my lowest evaluation had always been in hobbies and in fun. And I was talking to Steve. You can listen to his episode on Think Unbroken. I was talking to Steve. He's like, you have got to dedicate a part of your life to enjoying it. It can't always be work. So now I have on my calendar blocked out times where I'm just going to do what I want and I'm going to have fun. My hope is that you don't hit burnout. My hope is that you put the right people and the right teams in place. That's why I'm making this content, because I've built 7-figure companies. I've hired and led over 500 people. I've got 22 years of experience in leadership under my belt. I know how to navigate these things. And if you don't, I encourage you to go to michaelandbroken.com, click free resources, and take the quiz that I put together to help you identify which of the 6 pillars of your business is the current bottleneck. And when you do that quiz, I'm actually going to send you a personalized PDF that breaks down the exact game plan for you to start attacking that bottleneck and start to create change into the business. That said, thank you so much for listening, for being here, for being a part of it. Check us out, michaelandbroken.com, free resources. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Until next time, be unbroken, my friends. I'll see ya.